think if you'd asked me over the weekend or following the Prime Minister's announcement on Sunday evening, I would have said in all likelihood we would have expected estate agents to open up from the 1st of June. That said, despite the relatively short notice, I think it's good news. It's clearly great news for the agents, but it's good news for home hunters, landlords and vendors as well. I think, it sends a pretty strong signal that Britain is open for business.
And on landlords, the rental sector, do you think that both they and estate agents will have to have, social distancing is one thing, but the numbers of people trotting through a property on a given day surely has to be smaller?
Yes, I think, one of the things that the industry has done over the course of the last few weeks, whilst we've been in lockdown, is look at many different ways in which home hunters, be they purchasers or tenants, prospective tenants, can actually see and view houses. And that's everything from remote viewings where an agent has been able, or even the homeowner has been able, to guide prospective buyers or tenants around a home, right the way through to things like 360-degree videos, etc. So I'm sure that those practices won't go away now that the lockdown on agencies has been lifted. And I think a combination, therefore, of that, together with the guidelines you were discussing a few moments ago that have been put in place by the government, will protect both the agent, the landlord or homeowner, and the prospective buyer or tenant as well.
And what can you tell us about the buoyancy of the market? Are you able to? What was it like before this happened?
I think you ask exactly the right question, because one needs to take into account that for the 4 years or so from the time of the Brexit referendum leading up to literally just Christmas last year, it's been a period of huge uncertainty, both political uncertainty and then the Brexit-related uncertainty overhanging the housing market overall. And so what we saw with both political certainty coming out of the election and the departure from the European Union at the end of December was actually a very, very buoyant property market during January and February, the best we'd seen for 4 years or so. So many of the figures that you hear saying, well, the market has fallen significantly since February, you need to take into account that was starting from a very high bar when compared to the historic period over the last 4 years. And what we've actually seen is, inevitably in the early part of lockdown, we saw a decline in active interest around the property market. But what we've seen that bounce back very quickly. So if I compare, for instance, the number of people looking to buy or rent homes on Zoopla at the moment, for purchasers, that figure is getting close to where we were in historic years, in 2018, 2019. For renters, that figure is actually back up to where we were in the immediate post-COVID crisis. So there's definitely buyer interest out there. The majority of property that was on the market for sale, 93% plus of the property that was on the market for sale pre the lockdown, remains on the market. So potential vendors are not pulling their property away. And you've got this backlog of about 373,000 transactions, £82 billion worth of property, which has sort of been caught in the pipeline that people still want to get completed. We've not seen big fall-throughs of potential buyers and potential deals being completed. So I think at least in the short term, there is this real backlog of pent-up demand, which will certainly support the market as agents reopen.